And it was just another day, yeah.
Just another day.
Until I went to the movies, and now it's a movie Tuesday. A movie Tuesday. Until a movie Tuesday.
Oh, man. Whew. Oh, that feels better. Yellow, and welcome to Movie Tuesday. It is another day, like all other days, where I talk to you about news, trailers, and movies. Hopefully, you all had a good Labor Day weekend, if you celebrate that kind of stuff. I know I did. It was fan-fucking-tastic. Even up to the point, or even past the point, when I got sick. It was funny. I went to my buddy's house. We're all hanging out, playing games and shit, eating barbecue. And apparently, I was sitting right under the AC vent. And before their eyes, I just got sick. Like, nose was running. I was sneezing. I had like tissue stuffed up my nose to keep it from running everywhere. It was crazy. And the only good thing that came from it was just that for years, I have been telling friends, family, all the time. I'm like, dude, I can't stick with AC. Like, when that artificial air blows on me, it just, my body has some kind of reaction to it where it just starts getting sick. And I mean, like, flu type, sneezing, sniffling, sore throat, cough, like all that. Like, it happens for some reason. There's rare occasions where I actually get nauseous and will vomit. But luckily that didn't happen over the weekend, so that was good. But as you can see, or if you're watching this, I'm still recovering from that. So yeah. But other than that, good Labor Day weekend for me. I needed a break. It was been really hectic at work for me. Got to play some games, got to watch movies, got to sleep most of the day, smoking cigars and all that, hanging out with the old lady, hanging out with friends. It was great. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get to what you all came here for. Quick note too, as you can see if you're watching this, got the microphone set up. Shout out to my boy Eric from the Unlucky Dreamer podcast. He answered the call and gave me much needed feedback. He was like, "Yo man, your podcast is still low, the audio on it." And I was like, "Fuck." Okay. So now I got the mic right in front of my face. Hopefully this works. Other than that, I don't know what else to do, because when I listen to it in different places, it sounds fine. But then there are certain avenues that I listen to it, and the audio is like pretty low for some reason. I have no idea why. So if this doesn't work, I have no idea what to do. So if anyone out there is some sound designer and you have any like experience with using Adobe Premiere Pro, hit your boy up and let me know what the fuck is going on. Give me some pointers, because I'm winging it here, okay? I'm doing what I can. Anyway, all right, just checking to make sure my fucking dogs are getting crazy again. Stop. Whatever you're doing, cut it out. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the news. First up, courtesy of HollywoodReporter.com. WB/DC could be trying to get Leonardo DiCaprio to play the Joker with the help of Martin Scorsese. So, on Hollywood Report, stop, please, knock it off, get from under here. Ugh. All right, you're done. You're out of here. You're drunk. Get out of here. Ugh. Sorry, I'm on puppy watch. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. So last week I'm pretty sure it was last week, we were talking about the Joker solo movie that DC/Warner Brothers were planning on doing, and we talked about how Todd Phillips was going to be directing it. That other guy was going to be writing it. I can't remember. Scott Silver was going to be writing it, and then Martin Scorsese was going to be producing it, right? So the thing is, like, when you talk about the setting that they're trying to go for, where they're trying to go for like that 80s type setting and make it like real crime gangsterish and all that, I can understand how Scorsese fits in, but just the fact that it is a DC property where it deals with like super villains and shit like that, it just seems kind of out there for Scorsese. And with this recent, like, I'm gonna just say that this is a rumor or just speculation from what's going on in media, with them saying that DC and Warner Brothers trying to get Scorsese in to produce the movie. It does sound like they're trying to get Leonardo DiCaprio to kind of like toss his hat in and give a go at the character, the Joker character. So that's pretty interesting. Whether it's going to happen, I have no idea. I just found out reading like Hollywood Reporter and some other articles and stuff that the whole deal with Scorsese producing the movie is not set in stone. I guess like they're still like working out negotiations and shit with that. So whether that's gonna like draw DiCaprio in, I have no idea. I think if you had Scorsese directing and producing, maybe you could probably get DiCaprio in there, or maybe get him interested. But so far, there hasn't been any word on whether he's interested in that role or not. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I wouldn't mind seeing his take on that role. When I read the article about how they might be trying to get him to play it, I immediately snapped to his role in Django Unchained, and I was like, yeah, dude, like DiCaprio can do it. To me, he's one of those actors where like when he's a chameleon, but he goes the extra mile where it's like there are times where you just see Leonardo DiCaprio playing a character, but there are times where you kind of forget that you're watching Leonardo DiCaprio play the character, where like it kind of feels like his character comes to life on screen. I know that's happened for me a couple of times with like The Aviator, Django Unchained's another one like that. What was another one? Damn. It was around the tip of my tongue too. It's Aviator, Django Unchained, and Wolf of Wall Street. That was another one where it was just like his performances were so good that it was just kind of like you forget that you are actually looking at Leonardo DiCaprio play the part. So I would like to see him tackle the Joker. As far as like how Jared Leto feels, I guess there was like breaking news, at least for me today, where I recently read that someone asked Jared Leto how he felt about the casting, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I'm kind of just as confused as everybody else, where it's like, because I'm still gonna be the Joker in the DC movies, like the extended universe and stuff, but you know, then you got this like other actor coming in playing what seems to be like a different Joker, just like some kind of side story or whatever like that. So, you know, he's just as confused, but I'm still glad that he's gonna be the Joker going forward with like Suicide Squad and like maybe like some Batman movies and stuff like that, or just in that universe. I think it's great. As far as like this standalone movie, they're talking about how they're gonna have like a tighter budget. It's not gonna be as big and bloated as the DC movies that they've been doing, like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and stuff like that. It's gonna be like a smaller budget. If you get DiCaprio in the movie, I don't know how you're going to keep that budget tight, because if DiCaprio were to be cast in the movie, that's like 20 mil right there, at the very least 20 mil to even get him in the movie, right? Unless of course he takes some kind of pay cut, or you know, or he just like does Scorsese a favor, you know. And then on top of that, you got Scorsese himself, where it's like he's got to be another 20 mil at the very least. You know what I mean? Even in a producer's chair, that's still a pretty penny just for these two like prominent people in this movie. So if DiCaprio's in it, and if they lock down the deal with Scorsese. But basically what I'm trying to get at is, so far, if all goes well, it doesn't seem like it's going to be, it seems like the budget's going to be a lot bigger than they expected, and which leads me to believe that the budget isn't a problem, like money ain't a thing for WB and DC. So if that's the case, I would like to throw in my 2 cents and be like, instead of just following one linear storyline for the character, like as far as his origins go, I say you capitalize on what Christopher Nolan started in the Dark Knight movies, and you do like kind of an anthology type of movie. So instead of just following like one cohesive story, talking about the origins of the Joker character, you should just do like, maybe 3-4 different little short stories with, him, because you remember in the Christopher Nolan movie in the Dark Knight where every time he told his story to people, it was like a completely different story. You should just do something like that. And if you want, you can get like 3 different actors to play the Joker. You know what I mean? And just have like 3 different people just like telling you different stories of how they came to be, or how they were before they were the Joker. Like, I think that would be cool. It'd be expensive, but it'd be cool. It'd be a nice little touch. But we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. Anywho, moving on to the next story, coming from slashfilm.com. Jerry Bruckheimer says there's still hope for Bad Boys 3. So he was just like giving a little interview, and he was saying how, the movie has been going through scheduling conflicts lately, which led like Martin Lawrence to be like, I don't think it's actually going to happen anymore. Jerry Bruckheimer was saying, and I want to believe this too, because remember, I think it was last week where I said I didn't know if he was actually going to be producing the next Bad Boys movie, but apparently he is, because they credited him as one of the producers of the upcoming movie whenever they get around to it. So he was saying that scheduling conflicts aren't anything new for the franchise. Like they've ever since like the first Bad Boys, they've had like scheduling conflicts. We're trying to get all the ducks back in the row to film the movie. Like that's what the second movie went through. So he was like, the fact that it's happening with this next movie is nothing different. He said it's just and it seems like it all just really hinges on Will Smith, because he was saying how there's times where Will Smith is amped up and ready to do another Bad Boys movie, but then Sony isn't interested in doing one right now. And then they'll flip-flop, and then like Sony is ready to do another Bad Boys movie, but then like Will Smith is off doing other projects and shit, because when they were like kind of twiddling their thumbs and he was ready to go, he was just probably like, oh, like I got other things that I can go and do. So he goes off and does them. But Jerry Bruckheimer still thinks that the movie can happen, even though they got rid of the director that was gonna do it. Stop it. Get from back there. Go lay down. Anyway, sorry. Jesus, man. I just can't catch a break here. He was saying that even though like they got rid of the director and they're like currently rewriting the script and shit, he still believes that the movie like Bad Boys 3 can happen and will happen. So yeah, there's that. So like I was saying, clearly this all hinges on Will Smith, on whether he's going to like, whenever he's ready to come back and do it again, it'll happen. I really hope that within that amount of time that Michael Bay just comes to his senses and has some kind of epiphany and is like, yes, I do want to direct Bad Boys 3. Like, I hope like he would actually come back, because I just feel kind of weird, man. It's like you do the first 2 movies, it's like, come on, do the third one, man. But I guess if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. As far as like if Will Smith is still interested, I think he is. I think like you just got to give him his space, let him do his thing with the other project that he's doing. Obviously he's on a heater, and you never walk away from a heater. So yeah, but I also think he's gonna be back, because I'm pretty sure Bad Boys was the first like action movie that he did. I think it was the first action movie, and I think it was like the first like big successful movie of his career as well. So I think Bad Boys has a special spot in his heart, and I don't think he would ever like let it die without at least like doing a third movie to like hopefully close it out to where they could then like reboot it with new actors or something like that, or maybe he just wants to do it for the rest of his life. I don't know. I I'd be down for, him and, Marcus Burnett and Mike Lowry to just keep doing movies together, because for me, Bad Boys is my lethal weapon. It's the way I look at it. So, I mean, finish up your shit, Will, and let's get Bad Boys 3 started, but try and get Michael Bay to come back with you, so I don't know. Anywho, moving on to the next story, courtesy of FoxNews.com. So let me see if I can pronounce this right. Billy Magnuson, I'm going to go with that. He has been cast in the Aladdin movie. He's going to be playing the character Prince Anders, which is supposedly the rival to Aladdin. They're both like vying for Princess Jasmine's heart. So Billy Magnuson is going to be playing this character. And once again, there is outrage on the internet and claims of whitewashing in Hollywood again. Because apparently this is like I did a little bit of research, and this Prince Anders, it doesn't exist in the original Aladdin movie. So this is just a character that Guy Ritchie or whoever in that production made up, and they casted this guy in it. So, and people are pissed off because they're like, oh, you got another white guy to play this role. You couldn't find any Middle Eastern actors, whatever, like, you know what I mean? So once again, like, people are up in arms and claiming whitewashing and shit. So here's the thing, okay? Now, if you remember last week, like I said, key word here is consistency. So let's look at this real quick. So you're pissed off about this. So what's up with Naomi Scott? She's playing Princess Jasmine. She's a British actress. But I guess she has Indian heritage, so that kind of makes it okay or something, if I'm understanding that right. But I don't remember hearing any kind of backlash when she got cast to be Princess Jasmine. I didn't even know who it was, so I looked her up, and she's the chick from Power Rangers. She plays Kimberly in the new Power Rangers movie. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I can see that, right? And then once again, you got Will Smith, who is African American, and he's playing Genie. And this is the one casting piece that I do remember hearing about, and I don't remember hearing anyone complain about his casting as the Genie. So once again, Will Smith is getting a pass on some controversial casting. Bunny ears for all you listeners out there. Controversial. Here's my thing, dude. Like, do people not understand that Will Smith is black? I mean, I don't know. Either people don't understand that he's black, or they're trying to say that black people just get a pass when it comes to controversial casting for these movies. Because I just don't understand why, you do all these different types of people to fill these roles for these movies that have like characters with ethnic backgrounds or ethnic heritage and shit. But then, like, as soon as a white person gets in the fray, everybody just gets up and arms like, oh my fucking God, like, whitewash, how dare you? It's crazy. It's like, calm the fuck down. But like I said, consistency. I need consistency with your outrage, okay? Because I just don't understand what the hell is going on right now. Because at this point, I really feel like if they were to do like a biopic movie of Babe Ruth, and they cast Will Smith as Babe Ruth, I feel like people would just be like, yes, perfect casting. He's a perfect guy for the job. He can knock it out the park, blah, blah, blah. And I can just see myself looking like, are you fucking serious right now? He's black. Like, what am I missing here? I don't understand. I mean, is he getting some kind of a pass because Genie technically doesn't have an ethnicity, like, because he's a genie? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that character. Didn't he get turned back into a human when Aladdin freed him from the lamp? So I mean, I feel like he'd still be Arabic, right? The genie. So I don't don't know, dude. I'm really confused, and I would really like someone to just explain this shit to me on how you get mad at one bit of casting, but you don't get mad at the other. It's just like, it's got to go both ways, people. Diversify your shit. All right? Jesus. Anywho, moving on to the next news story. It's enough of this whole quote unquote whitewashing talk. Colin Trevorrow. Oh yeah, this is courtesy of IGN. Colin Trevorrow is no longer directing Star Wars Episode 9. So there were some problems with the production and all that. There's like numerous rewrites of the script because apparently he was helping write the script for the movie. And then they were saying that the work relationship between him and Kathleen Kennedy, who's like the head of Lucasfilms, it just was unmanageable. Unmanageable. God, I can't talk today or ever. So that happened. So he ended up leaving. I think they said it was amicably. So, but either way, like they're trying to find someone else to take the helm for the movie. So there's that. So this will mark the 4th time that there's been some director controversy with the Star Wars movies. So, you had the recent one with Lord and Miller, who are no longer directing the Han Solo movie. I guess like Josh Trank was supposed to do one of the anthology movies for them, and he ended up getting dropped. And I think they were saying that was mainly because of the whole controversy of what happened with Fantastic Four and how he kind of like went on social media and just pretty much said the movie sucks because the studio didn't let me do what the fuck I wanted to do. You know what I mean? So they ended up dropping him apparently for that. And then when they did the reshoots for Rogue One, which I didn't even know this, but when they did the reshoots for Rogue One, I was under the impression that I want to say Darren Aronofsky, but Gareth Edwards, that's his name. I was under the impression that Gareth Edwards was doing the reshoots for Rogue One, but then they got this other guy in named Tony Gilroy to do the reshoots for Rogue One. Remember when they were saying like it was too dark and they wanted it to be they wanted to lighten it up a little bit, so they brought this guy in. So now you got this whole fiasco with Colin Trevorrow, who's no longer directing Episode 9. So I mean, we're right back to square one with me and The Last Jedi, where I kind of go back and forth on, I don't know if they're gonna try and like retell the story of Empire Strikes Back with new characters, or if they're actually gonna like kind of defer from the original trilogy story setup or formula. I'm back to being scared to where I think The Last Jedi is just gonna be The Empire Strikes Back with new characters, because if I'm looking at this right, dude, like when you look at directors like, you look at like Josh Trank and Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, right? These are people I feel that I've witnessed to where they have their own certain style that they bring to the table, that they try and make projects their own. And Lucasfilms is it seems like they're pretty much on the same level as Marvel Studios is, whereas they have the vision that they want for the movie, and they just need the shooter to come in and get the shots that they need, and follow the rules that they set up. They don't want to deter from the tried and true formula, it sounds like. So, it seems like they're just getting rid of a lot of these people who like seem to be more hands-on with projects and try to make it their own, which I feel that they should do in this case, because like I said numerous times, the biggest problems that I have with Episode 7 and just in general with the way Star Wars is going is that there's too much of just being stuck in the past and trying to redo everything from the past. It feels more like you're remaking stories instead of like progressing the story forward. So I feel like you need to get these people in here who are like, I want to try and do this. Like, this is my vision for it, and I feel like this is where Star Wars needs to go. But then you got people like Kathleen Kennedy and everybody else over at Lucasfilms where they're just like, no, we don't want to risk that anymore, because the last time, we let somebody kind of like do their own thing to progress the story. Like everybody ended up hating it. And yes, I'm talking about the prequel movies that George Lucas had did, you know? So I think that they're trying to like stay away from that, which I think is a bad idea, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I'm back to being worried about The Last Jedi. I'm still going to go see it. I'm still excited for it because it is a Star Wars movie. But at the end of the day, if it ends up being Empire Strikes Back, I'm just be like, fuck, man. God damn it. It's like, oh, I am not going to be happy camper at all. But, so yeah, that's going to do it for the news. Now, let us get to the trailers for movie Chewsday. Okay, so first up is Jigsaw. Let me give another shout out to my boys, Steve and Eric, over at the Unlucky Dreamer podcast, because I first heard about this shit from them. So, like, they were talking about movies and stuff, and I can't remember who it was, but one of them was like, did you know that, like, did you watch that Jigsaw trailer yet? And they're like, and I can't remember what they said, but I was just like, Jigsaw? Like, as in Saw? I was like, they're making another fucking movie? You know? So I went online, and lo and behold, dude, fucking Jigsaw. They're making another Saw movie. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you seriously kidding me? I thought they were done. I could have sworn whatever movie they did before this one that's getting ready to come out, I could have sworn they said this was going to be the last one. This is the last Saw movie and we're hanging that shit up. And I was like, dude, oh my God, dude, why? Why? So I went and I looked up the trailer and sure, dude, like, I have no interest in seeing this movie at all. I think the last Saw movie I watched was the fourth one. And I do honest spoiler warning, which I really shouldn't do because those movies have been out for forever, but I'm pretty sure he died in the third movie, right? Because I remember him getting his throat cut. Like, somebody took like a buzzsaw or whatever, and they like sliced the fuck out of his throat. I was like, there's no way he could live through that, right? And so I'm pretty sure that was the third movie, because the fourth movie is when they they showed that he was dead. He was in the body bag, but then like he still like left videotapes because he predicted everything that was gonna happen, because that was just how complex his brain was and all this other bullshit, right? And he was still like sending people through all these fucking trials. I think he still had people locked up and all this other shit. Like, it was crazy, dude. But all I know is by the end of that movie, that I don't remember that much, I just remember by the end of it, I was just like, you know what? Because I think that movie ended to where they still were like gonna progress the story forward. I just remember being like, dude, I'm done. I was like, fuck this, you know? First movie, spectacular. Second movie, was as bad as I thought it was going to be. Third movie, I thought was the best. And even though it does end on a cliffhanger, I was just like, I am completely content with this movie or with this franchise just ending on the third one. Okay, I'm done. I can't deal with this shit anymore. You know what I mean? I watched the trailer for this movie. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I don't understand why this motherfucker is still kidnapping people and locking them up and sending them on all these trials and shit. I don't care what kind of reasons they have behind it. I mean, hopefully there's something where like like there's like they were saying in the trailer that it could be a copycat. So maybe they'll have it be like, oh, Jigsaw's legitimate child like took over the family business or whatever, where he kidnaps people and puts them in meaningless trials to appreciate life. I don't give a fuck. Okay, I'm done. All right, I'm not seeing this movie. Seriously, you have to pay me to go see this movie. So like, if a studio exec is like, hey, we saw a movie Tuesday and we heard your complaints and we want to fucking give you a personal screening for this movie because we guarantee this shit is gonna be good. Like, You need to either pay me or you need to give me a free ticket, because I ain't going to the theaters to see this movie with my own money. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I've had enough. Okay, take this series and burn it. I don't even want you to reboot it. Just leave it alone and move the fuck on. There's this video game series called Zero Escape, and it is pretty much Saw. I think the story's batshit crazy, but it's pretty much Saw. I think you should just go and get the rights to that and make a movie off of that if you want to make a Saw movie that bad. That's what I think. But, fuck me, right? What do I know? Oh, I'm so pissed. Like, you don't understand how pissed off I am, dude, because that was one of those franchises that just started off so good, and it just kept going and going and going until it just became a big fucking joke. Jigsaw. Jesus goddamn Christ. It comes out in October 27th, and that's fucked up, dude, because I like my scary movies. I want to see my scary movies, especially in Halloween, and I gotta fucking miss this shit because it's fucking bullshit. God damn it. Alright, anyway, moving on to the next movie. Insidious, The Last Key. What is this, the fourth movie in the Insidious franchise? This one actually looks pretty interesting. I definitely want to see this. Unfortunately, it doesn't come out till January, but I want to go see it. Insidious is very hit or miss with me. I thought the first movie was spectacular. Like, that's one of the best scary movies I've seen in my whole life. But then the second one kind of like fell off because I felt like the second one was really campy, dude. Like, it went more the comedic route and didn't really like go deeper into like the whole scary nature of it all. It kind of turned everything around and just made it like real comical. And then they tried to get back to basics with the third movie, where it was a lot more like sinister and scarier and shit, but they got a little too gung-ho with the jump scares and shit. But I felt like they were kind of getting back on the right track with that movie, so I kind of have high hopes for this movie that's going to be coming out next year. I'm going to assume that it's another prequel because that old lady is back in it, and if memory serves me correct, her ass got fucking choked out and killed at the end of the first movie. Sorry for not doing a spoiler warning, but like I said, the statute of limitations, people, the movie's been out for forever. While we're on it, the way I do with spoilers usually is that if the movie's been out for at least a year, like, all bets are off, okay? We just go say some shit. So, I'm sorry if I fucking ruined it for you, but if you didn't see Insidious when it came out, what the fuck are you doing with your life? But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna assume that this is another prequel, which they got the little old lady back, and then her little crew of misfits is back again with her. So that's what kind of has me a little worried, where I was like, I think they might try and go the more comedic route again, but we'll just have to wait and see, dude. I don't know. I got good expectations for it though so far. So long as I don't watch any more trailers for it, like I was watching a trailer for it this time and I was like, man, they're showing a lot of shit. But I'm hoping that by the time it comes around January 5th, which is when the movie comes out, that I would have forgotten a lot of that stuff, because I am getting older. The old brain ain't working like it used to, so hopefully I can forget some things. But so yeah, that'll about do it for the trailers. It's all the trailers that I've seen. So let's just go ahead and get into the movie for the week. Okay, so the way it happened this past week was that I didn't go to the movies. All the movies in theater, I either watched them already and talked about them, or I just had no interest in seeing them. So I didn't get to go to the movies, but luckily I am a proud subscriber to Netflix. God knows how long now. But Netflix got all the original content and shit. They got shows, they got movies and all that. So last week I was talking about how I wanted to see the movie What Happened to Monday. So with me not being able to go to the theater, I was like, this is a prime time for me to go and see What Happened to Monday. I have watched it, and here's the thing. Sorry. So just in case, because apparently this movie has two different titles. I know over here in America, it's called What Happened to Monday, but then over in France, I think it's called Seven Sisters. So, just to give you a quick premise on it, it takes place in this dystopian future where you can only have one child, and if you have any more, they take the child away and they cryogenically freeze them because the earth is like overpopulated and shit. So the plan is that, when you have a kid, you get to have the kid and everything, you live a happy life, be a family and all that. But if you have another kid or a kid after that, like, the government comes through, snatches them up, and they cryogenically freeze them, and they like just keep them there until like the planet can get to a point where the population is regulated again, or they find out like some kind of alternative solution to where like maybe they could go to Mars or some shit. Then they'll unthaw the kids and like put them back into society and shit, right? Pretty fucked up shit. So this one dude, and I was under the impression that Willem Dafoe was the dad, but he's actually like the granddad. His daughter had the septuplets, and that is the word for it. I did not know that last week. So his daughter had septuplets, and she died during childbirth. So he was like left to raise the girls, right? So and that makes a lot more sense because I was under the impression that he was the dad watching the previews, and I was just like, William Dafoe's kind of up there in age, man. I was like, you still fucking, shooting out septuplets and shit. So it made sense that he ended up being the granddad. So he ends up taking the girls, and he names them all after the days of the week, and he ends up like creating this persona for them so that when they go out, they all can't go out at once, obviously, so they have to go out one at a time, and they go under the identity of Karen Sutton or Sutner or whatever, which is you'll find out once you watch the movie where the name comes from, but they go out under that identity every day. So that's the premise, but then like one day Monday goes out and doesn't come back, so then it's this whole thing about them trying to figure out where the fuck she went and what happened to her, and that's where all the tension builds up, because if they go out and they get caught, or if they run into her and people see that they're twins and shit, and that they find out they're siblings, like they'll call the cops or call the government in, and they snatch one of them up, and they'll fucking cryogenically freeze them, and then they gotta go get the other ones and shit, just all this whole fiasco thing, right? So that all hell breaks loose. So that's pretty much like the general premise of the movie. So I'm gonna say this. I went into that movie expecting I had everything laid out, because this ain't my first rodeo, okay? We've all seen these crazy types of movies where they got these outlandish types of laws that's established in the not too distant future, and by the end of the movie, like, the whole system gets brought down and shit like that. Like, I had all worked out in my head. This movie blew away most expectations that I had going in. Like, it was crazy. Now, it's gonna be a little tricky because I can't really say much about the story, like, detail wise, because it'll kind of like ruin it for you. But I thought, like, as far as like plot and shit, I was very impressed. Like, there were some times where they kind of threw me for a loop and caught me off guard. And then, just like with the pace of it all, because they don't really waste a lot of time like thrusting you into the movie. Like, I feel like there's some parts where they could have like dragged out a little bit more or explained a little bit more, but for the most part, like they get you right in. Like it keeps you engaged from beginning to end. At least for me, it did. So I was really impressed with that. I was also impressed with how action packed the movie was. Like I knew there was gonna be action, but they had like fucking action in this shit, and it was violent as fuck, dude. Like there was a lot of like holy shit moments that were going on in the movie. And shout out to Noomi Rapace, because she delivered as far as like the performances of like the different sisters that she had to play, as far as like their personalities and stuff. And she delivered on the action as well. Like I know that there was a lot of like stunt doubles and shit going on with that as well, especially with her like having to be 7 different people. But I was impressed. Like she sold it for me. There are times where like the characters are set up, but they don't really like dive too deep into each of them, and it kind of makes it hard to tell who's who sometimes. There's certain characters that have like distinct features. Like there's one sister who has short hair, there's another sister who has blonde hair, so you can kind of like tell between those two. But then there's other ones that are like pretty identical to each other as far as like looks go, and personality wise they're kind of similar. So there were times where I was just like, when they're all on screen and shit and they're doing their thing, there were times where I was just kind of like, what was her name again? You know, so like that's like one of the gripes that I had, but I'm willing to kind of overlook that for the most part. But still, like I was impressed with it. The action, like I said, was really good. It was really violent. I was not expecting that, and it is like, it's never like over the top, and it's never too little, if that makes any sense. It's just like the right amount of violence that they do, and it fits the movie overall. It's like, it's not really like a standout like how it was for me when I watched Death Note. I think it was last week when I watched Death Note. I felt like the violent scenes in that movie were kind of like disjointed from the rest of the movie, whereas like in this movie it all fits together. And so there's that. So yeah, like I said, Noomi Rapace delivers. She gives a good performance as usual. William Dafoe's okay. He wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he was going to be. Like, he's really got like a small, it's an important role, and he makes use of what screen time he has, but I just thought he was going to be in a lot more than what he was. Glenn Close is okay. You know, she doesn't really do anything stand out for me too much. Like, she always brings a good performance in most of the projects that she does that I've seen her in. The one thing that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way with her was just, they had this weird makeup choice for her, and I don't know what the reasoning was behind it. I don't know if they were just trying to make her look more young or something. Like, I have no idea, but she had this weird thing going on with her makeup that just like, I kept looking, I was like, is that how she really looks now, or is that just a fucking makeup thing? Like, I didn't understand what they were trying to do with that whole situation. But other than that, like, like performances were pretty good. All in all, I really liked the movie. I liked it a lot more than I expected it to. Like I said, the story's good. I think that it had a very satisfying ending. I think it would bring up a really good discussion between people as far as like figuring out who exactly the villain was in the movie, because I mean, they kind of make it a little clear cut on who the bad guy is and who the good guy is, but you mainly kind of label one group as the bad guy just because of what they're doing in the movie. But then, like, when you take a step back and actually think about the situation and what's really happening, it did kind of make me question, like, are we sure these are the bad guys? You know what I mean? So it was kind of a little, I don't know. Like I said, I think it would spark up a nice conversation between people if they like sat down and watched a movie together and they try and figure out like who the bad guy really is, and and how society is as a whole and shit like that, But I thought it was I really liked it. It was a very satisfying story. Like I said, good action scenes. The only gripe I really have with the action is that sometimes they get a little crazy with the quick cuts, especially like when it's Numi Rapids, because there are some scenes where all the girls are kind of like in an area going through shit, and the camera jumps back and forth between the two, and then they'll jump back and forth between other people like fighting and everything and running and shooting. And sometimes, like I said, you get a little disjointed where it's like, who is this character again? Like, which sister is this? You know what I'm saying? Or like, what the fuck is happening? Because I don't really understand. Like, the camera's jumping around a little too much. So that was another little gripe for me. But for the most part, like, the action's like really, really good. I like the overall look of the movie as well. So I would like to give a shout out to the cinematographer, Jose David Montero. The film had a really like, it kind of jumped back and forth between being like really drab and dreary, but then like it had a lot of these bright, bold colors going on with it as well as like with the costume design and what people were wearing. Like, I don't know, I just like the kind of colors, the different colors that the movie had, and just the overall look of it and the way certain scenes were shot. So that was pretty cool. What else? Good music as well. So shout out to Christian Wiebe, I think. I don't know, but shout out to them. Had a pretty good music that really like amplified a lot of the action scenes and like really built up the tension to where like if I was sitting in the seat, I would probably be sitting on the edge of it, because there were times where I was just like kind of rooting, just like, come on, like you can do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I think if you haven't seen it already, I think it's definitely worth watching. It's on Netflix. I checked on Google to see if you can rent it, and it's not available to rent right now, but you can like put on your wish list or some shit. But yeah, if you have Netflix, or if you know somebody that got Netflix, like, you need to check it out. If you have nothing else to watch, especially. But I think it was a good movie, dude. And honestly, I could have seen this movie actually like coming out in theaters and holding its own, dude. Like, it was that good. And this is one of those cases like Christopher Nolan was saying, where it's like, I think Netflix is kind of dropping the ball as far as like not putting some of their original movies onto the big screen first and then onto their streaming service, because I do feel like this movie could have like held its own in theaters, but I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I think that is going to just about do it as far as that movie. Like I said, I can't get really too in depth with it just because I don't want to give anything away. So, go and see it if you haven't already, and then next week we can come back here and we can talk about it. And by that I mean you can hit me up on Twitter at the Chewels, or you can email me chewels85@gmail.com, and we can have a nice little discussion on whether you like the movie or not. Other than that, I don't feel like I'm forgetting anything else, so I'm gonna call it right there. Hopefully the audio is not fucked up in this. I will do my best. I will do what I can to get it as pristine as possible so you can listen. Until then, that was Movie Chewsday. Now is just another day.
And it was just another day, yeah. Just another day. Until I went to the movies, and now it's a movie Tuesday. A movie Tuesday. Until a movie Tuesday.